next at 4.
The U.S. Supreme Court has ruled on the Moore versus Harper case today.
Joining us live now to discuss this topic and more is WSFA's Washington correspondent Peter Zampa. Peter, what is Moore versus Harper and what did the Supreme Court decide?
Yeah, Sally and Rosanna, this case has to do with election law in the United States, specifically 2021 Republican-drawn congressional maps in the state of North Carolina. Now, Democrats in that state appealed these maps, saying that they were partisan gerrymandered maps. They took it to the North Carolina Supreme Court, and the North Carolina Supreme Court at the time agreed with them. Then the supporters of the maps took it all the way to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court today, in a 6-3 decision, is saying that, yeah, they agree with the North Carolina Supreme Court. They have the right to throw out these maps. But the reason supporters of the maps brought it to the Supreme Court is part of this independent state legislature theory. It's a fringe election theory that basically says the Constitution made it so that we are the sole authority of election rules and drawing congressional maps. No one else can interfere, not even the courts. Well, the Supreme Court today saying, look, that's not how this works. You are not fully insulated from the judiciary system when it comes to your congressional maps. We can review them and we can rule on them when that is needed. So it had a widespread ramifications today, what they decided.
Of course, the U.S. Supreme Court also recently ruled that Alabama had to redraw its congressional map as well.
And we'll have more from one of our reporters locally. But Peter, now to former President Donald Trump's legal woes. An audio clip of Trump relating to his classified documents case has been released. What is in the clip and what is Trump saying about its release?
Yeah, so there's no real new information here. It's just hearing the words. These news organizations are releasing this audio clip that was released of the president allegedly showing a staffer some battle plan, some military document that he acknowledges in this recording that it's a secret document, that it's classified, and that he no longer has the ability to declassify it because he's no longer the president. These things were all shown in the 48-page indictment from Jack Smith, but we never really heard the words from Trump himself. And in this audio clip, you can hear these words, further complicating things for the former president. Now, Trump is hitting back, saying, first of all, it exonerates me. Not sure what his thinking is there, but he also blames Jack Smith, the special counsel in this case, for releasing it and for spinning it to benefit him, basically arguing that it's out of context, this audio tape. I don't know what the right context would be for Trump, but that's what he's arguing. And then he goes on to say this is still a witch hunt and it's election interference, common refrains that we've heard from Donald Trump since his legal troubles really began.
Peter, the Senate released a report relating to the January 6th insurrection. What's in that report?
Yeah, so this was a Democratic-led report from Chairman Gary Peters. He's the senator from Michigan. He's also the chair of the Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee in the U.S. Senate. It's a 100-page report that really points a finger, a damning finger, at the FBI and at the Homeland Security Office of Intelligence and Analysis, saying all of these warning signs were here. How did you not know to warn the Capitol Police, to warn the correct authorities? Because you had all the intel you needed leading up to the January 6th insurrection. You knew it could get violent, and you didn't do enough to stop it. So this report really pointing the finger at these intelligence agencies, blaming them for not acting, and trying to lay out possible reforms so that this does not happen again. But they also comment on the fact that we had reforms and we had intelligence failures in 9/11. This was the aftermath of that was supposed to prevent something like this. So they're saying just not enough work is being done in the intelligence community.
President Biden is heading to Chicago Wednesday to promote his economic agenda. What is the White House saying ahead of this trip?
Well, they're calling it Bidenomics, and this is the message they want to take on the road. They're going to point to 13 million jobs added under the president's watch. They're going to point to under 4% unemployment in this country coming out of a pandemic. Now, they're not thrilled with how inflation remains stubborn, but they see a decline, so they're fine with that. They will take this message that my economic plan is working. The president's economic plan, they say, is working. A middle out, bottom up approach rather than cutting taxes for the rich and trying to trickle down in this economy. They want to build things. They want to get semiconductor manufacturing back, all kinds of manufacturing back. They want to go green energy. All of these things that we've heard from the administration, they're really taking to the American people, especially with an eye on 2024 as the president goes on the campaign trail. He'll have campaign events in each of the cities he visits with this presidential message.
Peter Zampa live in Washington, D.C. for us. Peter, thank you so much for joining us.
You bet. Thanks.